A very great morning to you watching Westnile Television, wherever you're catching the show live from. You're most welcome, and this is KOKOLIRIKO Live on Westnile Television. My name is Denis Oringi. We are coming to you live from the broadcast house, and today happened to be 14th of that is July 2023. If you do not know, and it is a Friday, and it's a free Friday right here, as I will be, summarizing some of the stories of the week for you to get to understand and how things are being done. All right, a quick one. You have to know that today the Speaker of Parliament of the Republic of Uganda is expected at Madi Okolo district for the anniversary of one of the radio stations right there, and that is according to information that we have obtained right here. And so I think it will be the first time the Speaker of Parliament of the Republic of Uganda will be visiting the district of Madi Okolo, the rural districts that we have in this region, for your information. And so you will even wonder whether this is a district or it is not. But the good thing is that district status has been granted to them, and it was granted in 2020. I can remember vividly before the week of the COVID-19. And so the people of Madi Okolo have been really celebrating. And yesterday we were able to bring to your attention the story of the district leaders. I know reporting late for work simply because majority, 90% of the district staff, reside right here in Arua City, and the distance between Arua City and Madi Okolo district local government headquarters, it is approximately 41 kilometers, and so these people have to travel from Arua City to the district headquarters for work, and sometimes 10 a.m. gets them when they are still here in Arua City, and they have to be ferried using the government vehicles that are fueled by the taxpayers' money, and this is done on a daily basis. And so you can really calculate how much government of the Republic of Uganda spend on fuel to transport the staff to go and work on behalf of the people, and how much work do they deliver in regards to the assignments that they're supposed to do, and also vis-a-vis the salary that they are being paid. And so this conversation has to continue. And what can be done is a problem with accommodation right there in their town council. Where are the people of the real estate who can really open up housings that can really accommodate these staff they rent, because government is losing a lot of money in the name of fueling these vehicles to transport the Madi Okolo district local government staff to go and work. And so if 10 a.m. gets them in Arua City, 41 kilometers away from Arua City, you have to know that you can really take something like 30 minutes drive from Arua City to the district headquarters. And if it rains, it is worse, and that means that the staff work less, and they are supposed to be in the office by 8:30 according to the government standing order, Minister of Public Service. And so by around 5 p.m. that is the time that they're supposed to conclude their work at their offices. But you find that these staff, by around 3, they're already preparing to leave Madi Okolo district local government headquarters and coming back to Arua, and they have to get in the vehicles that are being fueled by the district leadership. And so that is what you need to know right there. It's quite unfortunate that we continue to lose money on administration, yet we have real issues that are supposed to be tackled using the money the government of the Republic of Uganda appropriate right there. You have to know that Ministry of Finance has released the circular for the financial year 2023-2024, what need to be done, what need not to be done. And so I believe that the chief administrative officers, together with the political leaders of the different districts, ministries, departments and agencies of government, they were able to get this circular, and you have to understand and read it into detail, and you get to know what you are supposed to do. You have to know that there should be no new recruitment in this financial year. Maybe if they want to fill in the gap or the existing gaps in the staffing at different districts, that can be done, but no new recruitments should be done. And that's what you need to know, that the Ministry of Finance this time around, because of budget shortfall, they will not be able to allow any district to recruit new staff. What they can do is to write to them if there is need to fill a gap that has been created by a death, or somebody resigning from his or her position, then the district can really request. But no mass recruitment as we have been witnessing in the previous financial years. And so that is what you need to know, that the different ministries, departments and local governments that we do have in our country, Uganda, will not really carry any mass recruitment of staff because we do not have money. The 52.7 trillion that has been budgeted for this financial year 2023-2024 is not enough. Remember, 17 trillion will be going to pay the debt that the government of the Republic of Uganda was able to borrow, both externally and also internally. And so that is what you need to know, that it is going to be a tough time for the government of the Republic of Uganda in this particular financial year because donors have threatened to withdraw, and they say they will not be able to fund some of the projects or the programs that are being run by the government of the Republic of Uganda in this particular financial year over the issues that they best understand. Issues to do with the LGBT. Remember, the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, was able to append his signature to the anti-homosexuality bill. And right now, as we talk, the anti-homosexuality is now a very serious law in our country, Uganda. And so for those who would think that they can really come and do whatever thing that they want to do here in our country, Uganda, let me tell you, if you are coming in the name of the LGBTQ, you have to know that the long arm of the law will be able to catch up with you, and you will really face the wrath of the law right there for you. And so because of that, those who have been promoting this particular act that the government of the Republic of Uganda has deemed it not fit to be really talked about and exercised here in our country, Uganda, they have really castigated the President of the Republic of Uganda, including the members of Parliament. We did see recently, U.S. trying to issue issues to do with travel ban to some of the senior government officials of the Republic of Uganda, and so they care less and say they can move on. If they don't want us to travel to their country, we can even travel to other countries that we do have. The Asians are there, they are ready to welcome us. And so those were some of the words of some of the government officials who seem to be one of those that have been affected by the travel ban that has been put by the United States government right there for you. And so that is what you need to know in regards to what is happening in as far as the budgeting of this country is concerned. The 52.7 trillion that should be financed this particular financial year. Remember, Uganda Revenue Authority, the tax collector of this government, they are also strategizing on what they're supposed to do so that they're able to release, so that they're able to realize the 52.7 trillion that should be mobilized. And you have to know that out of that particular money, over 20 trillion should come from the local domestic revenues that are being generated locally here in our country, Uganda. And that means that you and I, we should be able to pay this revenue in time. And so I urge the Uganda Revenue Authority to strategize, and they should really be able to do more of sensitization of the masses on what they are supposed to do in regards to paying the local revenues that should be able to support the 52.7 trillion that has been appropriated, and we are already using the money in this particular financial year. That is what you need to know right there for you. All right, dear viewer, yesterday I did promise to really bring for you a document that was really presented by the State Minister for Northern Uganda in regards to the poverty alleviation in Northern Uganda. And remember, government of the Republic of Uganda has been able to really channel different programs to this particular region called the North. And so the northern and the eastern district of Uganda suffered from prolonged insecurity, from 1986 to 2007. And for those who are well versed with the history of our country, Uganda, more especially what exactly happened in northern Uganda from 1986 to 2007, the central northern sub-region of Asholi was at the center of Lord's Resistance Army, is what you need to know, which subsequently spread to Lango and Teso sub-region. The Teso sub-region and parts of Asholi and Lao suffered not only from the LRA war, but also cattle raids from the neighboring Karamojong tribes, in which this is something that is still happening, and the people of Teso and Lao are suffering from the cattle raids that are being done by the Karamojong. Now, with Karamoja insecurity deriving from the intra-clan and tribal conflicts rooted in cultural traditions of cattle rustling, destabilized the region and was worsened by the infiltration of some arms that upscaled the weaponry, from the traditional spears to guns. The northwestern sub-region, that is the West Nile, where we are, the West Nile districts, was also affected by the LRA conflict. Though on a lower scale, the central north, as well as enduring its own armed rebellions up to 2002 and being a host to an influx of refugees is what you need to know. The sub-region of Elgon, Bukedi, and Bunyoro were also affected by the spillover effects of the insurgencies. And so you have to know that when government is planning for northern Uganda, we have the sub-region, we have the region of Bukedi and also the region of Bunyoro. All these regions were affected as a result of the spillover of the, of the insurgencies that were in northern Uganda. And so a combination of the above conflict led to a social economic losses leading to population displacement is what you need to know, right? A breakdown in social infrastructure, severely, weakened government, structures and service delivery, and asset depletion is what you need to. Consequently, poverty levels in the region rose, and other major, social development, indicators fell far short of national averages. And so these are some of the reasons that the region is really suffering in terms of the poverty level. That's why northern Uganda always is referred to be the second poorest region in this country, Uganda. And so before we begin castigating the people of the north, we should be able to understand what the people of the north were able to go through. And so the 20 years of LRA insurgency in northern Uganda affected the lives of the people in northern Uganda. And so because of that, government of the Republic of Uganda thought of programs that can really change the lives of the people in northern Uganda. I will be reading for you some of the programs that were really advanced to the north as the affirmative action to see that the lives of those that have been in the insurgencies, the lives are really changed. And so from 2007 to date, how has been the trend of life of the people in northern Uganda? Now, in 2007, the government of Uganda launched the Northern Uganda Peace Recovery and Development Plan. All of us were well versed with this PRDP program, and so it was the Northern Uganda Peace Recovery and Development Plan. And so the Peace Recovery and Development Plan, the PRDP, was for the northern region. And so the PRDP provides a framework for affirmative action. All development actors are expected to align their interventions to the PRDP to ensure that they meet the needs of the region, wish and harmonize their interventions with the government of the Republic of Uganda sector norms. So the PRDP also act as a mechanism for mobilization of what we call the additional funds to finance recovery efforts in northern Uganda. Against this framework, over Ugandan shillings 3.92 trillion have been spent through development programs, including Northern Uganda Rehabilitation Program, that is NUREP, the NURP, for those who are well versed with this. And then we do have people who are able to implement projects under Northern Uganda, rehabilitation program. And after Northern Uganda rehabilitation program, remember, after 2007, government of the Republic of Uganda came up with the PRDP. That was the first program that was advanced to the north as one of the affirmative actions program to really, make the people of the north recover from the 20 years insurgency. I can remember 2007, I was still in Gula. And when government of the Republic of Uganda was launching this particular program, I was already grown up and a very eloquent young man who was able to understand what was going on by that particular time. And by that time, we had a great number of the Asholis still living in the internally displaced camp, the IDPs. And so government thought it wise that we need to come out with a program that is, to really make these people recover. And so the PRDP came. After PRDP, we had Northern Uganda Rehabilitation Program, that is NUREP. And then after Northern Uganda Rehabilitation Program came the famous Northern Uganda Social Action Fund, NUSAF 1, NUSAF 2, and NUSAF 3. Northern Uganda Rehabilitation Program, NUREP, Agricultural Livelihood Recovery Program, the AREPT. So we also had what we call the Karamoja Livelihood Program, KALIP, Peace Recovery and Development Plan, PRDP 1, PRDP 2, PRDP 3, and Development Initiative for Northern Uganda that started in 2019 and ended this particular year in 2023 by the end of the June, the month of June. And so this is in addition to normal government programs previously concentrating on infrastructure development, but now largely focusing on livelihood supports. And so these were some of the programs that government of the Republic of Uganda thought it wise to be implemented so that the livelihood of the people in the north can really change. Remember, for over 20 years, they were in, LRA insurgencies, and so they did not get time to go to their garden. They did not get time, to associate. They did not get time to save. They did not get time even to open their bank accounts. And you might open your bank account. Where are you going to get the money from? Because by that time, by around 3 p.m., you have to begin packing your luggage and getting where you're going to sleep. And those who are sleeping at Lasho Hospital, you understand what I'm talking about here. If you report by 6 p.m., you will not get where to sleep. You'll end up standing in corridors and just standing and sleeping at the same time. And so that is the kind of life that the people of the north, they were really going through. And some were sleeping under the verandas in Gulu town. And so it was not easy for the people of the north, and government thought it wise that these people, we need to come out with affirmative action programs that can change their livelihood. And government was focusing majorly on the livelihood of the people in the north. And those programs that I have mentioned were some of the programs that government of the Republic of Uganda thought of. And so, however, you have to know that despite decades of sustained effort and financing, 3.920 trillion advanced to the north. Let me tell you something, that northern Uganda continues to be poor and excluded from remarkable economic progress from the rest of the country and lags behind the national average development indicators. Poverty level has reduced from 73.3% in 1992 to 32.5% in 2016 and 2017. Peace and security is now permanent. And paramount is what you need to know right now. When we talk about peace and security, I credit the government of the Republic of Uganda under the stewardship of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Peace and security is paramount here. And accessibility to social economic services has improved, and the people of northern Uganda are more eager and thirsty for development than ever before. And I can really confirm this, that people of the north are ready to embrace any government program that comes. So long as the people who are really taking these programs to the people are the people who are pro-people and they want the people to change. But it's quite unfortunate that in most cases we do have the people who think about themselves, but they don't think about the lives of those that the program or the programs are meant for, in the name of the people. And who are these people? In the name of the people. You have been receiving this in the name of the people. We have our political leaders who have been asking government on behalf of the people. We say in the name of the people. There are people who need these programs. And so we need to do what we call soul searching and find out whether the programs that we have been asking from the government of the Republic of Uganda have been reaching the people that we have been asking these programs for. That is where I'm interested, to understand whether my poor grandmother and my grandfather in the village there, they were able to benefit from some of these programs. And if they were not able to benefit, why exactly? We have to start from there. It could be lack of information, and the information could, was reaching them late. And in life, something that I've realized is that if I have the information, the first thing that I have to do is to inform my wife, my children, and also my brother and my sisters. First, I need to see that these people are really secured. And this is what I've seen with the government programs in this country, Uganda, that those who are at the forefront of the distribution, they first think about their surrounding. After that, now they begin to think about the people that they were used for getting this particular program. And so you have to know that government of the Republic of Uganda has tried its best to see that the affirmative actions work in northern Uganda through the different programs that have been introduced to change the livelihood of the people in the north. I felt it important I should bring to you this because each and every time we always say that, northern Uganda is poor. Government is not thinking about the people of northern Uganda. But remember, the different programs have been really rolled out in northern Uganda. And how have we been able to embrace these particular programs? And how have we been able able to make good use of the programs. And these are some of the questions that we should now be asking at this particular time, and there is need for soul searching. And I love the convener of the meeting of the different district leaders that we do have in northern Uganda at Gulu University to get to understand from these leaders what are some of the problems and what can be done to see that these problems are really solved amicably, because the programs have been rolled out here in Uganda, not in Sudan. And when government of the Republic of Uganda was launching and also rolling out these programs, you leaders, you were there. And so where is the problem? Why is it people are not yet getting out of the poverty index that we are talking about here? Why is it people are still in that abject poverty in northern Uganda? And so this is reflected in various initiatives, including sub-regional development fora, including Northern Uganda Development Forum. You have to know that right now as we talk, we have the NUDAF, that is Northern Uganda, development forum. Private sector groups and investors now look forward to invest in northern Uganda. Remember, under DINO program, government of the Republic of Uganda was able to bring on board the private sectors to come and help government in implementing these DINO programs that were rolled out in northern Uganda. We had the civil society organizations coming on board, the NGO working together with the government of the Republic of Uganda to see that the projects under DINO succeed. And so I believe it also succeeded because personally I was able to also witness the launching and also the implementation of some of these particular projects under DINO that were implemented by the civil society organization. So that a partnership is a very, very good one, and it's key in development. And so government can secure money, but it is important that government should be able to work with the private sector, and this has been happening, and I've witnessed this with Development Initiative for Northern Uganda. It's a very good one. And so you have to know that the farm cooperatives are planning renovation. The people now are thinking about refurbishing the defunct cooperatives, renovating, bringing back the spirit of cooperatives. I can remember vividly from the sub-county where I come from, we used to have a cotton store. And before you sell, you don't sell your cotton anyhow. You sell your cotton to the cooperative. What you do, you take your cotton and then they take record of your kilograms of cotton that you have taken. And now if they are coming to buy, they buy in bulk. And now when it comes to the distribution of the money, because they have been taking record of your kilograms of cotton that you have been taking to this cooperative store, then they say you gave us 100 kgs of cotton. Now, this buyer came and bought this cotton at this amount of money. Let us calculate. Now, if a kilogram is 3,000, then 3,000 times 100, and then you are paid. You get your money in bulk. You understand? And so you get your money in bulk, and now if it is 300,000 that you have made out of the 100 kgs of your cotton, that is good amount of money. Other than going to the garden, picking a basin of cotton, then you just rush with it for sale direct. How much will you get? You will end up getting 3,000 Uganda shillings. And what can 3,000 do to change your life? That cannot happen. And I love the fact that people have now started understanding that we need to really come together. If we have produce, we can now sell as a cooperative. We can now sell in bulk. And let me tell you something here. When you sell as a cooperative, there will be some money that you can you can save with the cooperative. And if you don't have money in the long run, you can run to the cooperative and borrow something right there. And this should also be working out with the people who are dealing in coffee in the region of, in the district of Zombo, and also part of Nebi, that is in the sub-counties of Erusi and other sub-counties that are really growing coffee right there. And this is what government of the Republic of Uganda wants from us. Can we get ourselves into cooperative and, we begin doing things as a group? And by the way, when you do things as a group, you get a lot of money other than doing things on individual basis now. These give an opportunity and hope to develop strategic interventions in northern Uganda. Over the last months, the Office of the Prime Minister, Ministry of Northern Uganda and Operation Wealth Creation has engaged the elders, the private sector, public and private training institutions and entrepreneurs on a process to develop regional investment program. And this is what is working on. And in the due course of the show, or maybe next week, I will be diving into what we call the regional investment program, whose main goal is to increase household income in line with the National Development Plan 3. And remember, government of the Republic of Uganda, under the leadership of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and also under the leadership of the National Resistance Movement, is implementing what we call the National Development Plan 3. And that's what you need to know. After 2026, we shall now be talking about National Development Plan 4. And so a development plan runs for 5 years, is what you need to know for those who do not understand the National Development Plan. So we are in the National Development Plan 3 as we are talking right now, and that is what the NRM government thought of, that if we implement our programs based on the plan. So we have 5 years development plan, and so we are in the 5 years development plan 3 of the NRM, and so we are waiting to get into the National Development Plan 4 that is NRM. That will be after 2026 if the NRM government continues to be in power. Allow me to make that clear. And so that is what you need to know. And they have told me that they will continue to stay in power. And that's what I know. And I've been hearing from them. And so the regional development program is in line with the National Development Plan 3 that seeks to stimulate growth potential through agro-industrialization, is what the government of the Republic of Uganda and the National Development Plan 3 is talking about. Let's talk about agro-industrialization. You have your farm produce that you always do produce. And where are you taking your farm produce? Are you thinking of really, adding value and also taking it to the industry that is supposed to be manufactured? And remember, we are talking about manufacturing, mining and tourism through public-private partnership. And this is what government of the Republic of Uganda is thought of. And we do also have the private Public-Private Partnership Act that already is in place. The Public-Private Partnership Act of 2016 is already there. And so you can get interested to understand how government wants to work with the people. And you as a private player, how can you engage the government in, developing this particular nation called Uganda? And so, so far, a consultative, process has been carried out in Ashuli, Lamu, and Western sub-regions, and investment plans focusing on selected valuable commodities and their value chains is what you need to know. We are talking about, now, this includes sesame, soybean, sunflower, rice, maize, beef, and dairy, cross-cutting enterprises including apiary, aquaculture, and agroforestry, shea butter, avocados, mangoes, cashew nuts, and also macadamia. This marks an entry point and a process for a meaningful inclusiveness of especially the private sector into the development process of northern Uganda. And so therefore, I thought it important that I should be able to bring for you the preamble of these particular development projects and programs the government of the Republic of Uganda has been rolling out in northern Uganda. And so as the people of the north, I think we need soul searching in regards to the implementation of some of these programs. Government of the Republic of Uganda has done its part in ensuring that the livelihood of the people in the north is really changed. But the problem is issues to do with the implementation at the grassroots level. That is where I have problem. Should governments change strategy of rolling down its programs? I need to hear from you. You can go to our inbox and you have to write comments right there. What has been the problem and what need to be worked on? Can we hear also from you? Because in most cases the leaders sit and then they discuss. At the end of the day, the same people continue to have a discussion. It's important that we should now engage the local people in understanding what went wrong and what needs to be done right for us to get out of that poverty index that is always being referred to each and every time that somebody is talking about northern Uganda. And when shall we get out of the negative thoughts that people always put across whenever they are presenting papers locally, nationally, and internationally? Because people are using the name of the North to secure funding, sometimes for themselves, sometimes for the government of the Republic of Uganda, sometimes for the people who are in the North. But when shall we get out of that context where we shall not be referred to as the poorest region that we have in this country, Uganda? Other regions are not being talked about when it comes to the issues to do with poverty. But when it comes to northern Uganda, each and every time northern Uganda is being mentioned as the poor region. And when shall we not be mentioned as the poor region in this country, Uganda? Why can't we be like those in the center? Why can't we be like those in the western part of this country? Why can't we be like those who are in the eastern part of this country? Always northern Uganda and Karamoja, always, always, always. And when West Nile advocates for its own region as autonomous, then West Nile will not miss from being mentioned as the poorest region that we do have here in Uganda. And so I think for now, West Nile, let us continue to stay under northern Uganda, so that when they're mentioning northern Uganda, then we say, well, northern Uganda is broad. For us in West Nile, we are not poor. Maybe part of other, northern Uganda. But for your information, when you talk about the north, the poorest north is West Nile. I've gone to Asholi. The Asholi people are recovering. They are recovering, I mean. They are recovering. They have tractors plowing each and every corners. You understand? And you can see sign of industries in Asholi. Go to Nwaya. Go to Amuru. Go to Agago. Go to Lamuo. Go to Kitgum. Go to the trading centers that are in Asholi and you see people selling produce. What produce are we selling here in West Nile? Somebody says that for us, what we give cheap labor to go and cut sugar cane in Masindi and in Ginger. By the way, for your information, what leaves West Nile are not produce. What leaves West Nile are either logs, shako, and what? And cheap labor being transported to go and cut people's sugar cane and ferrying people to go and work in people's farm across the Nile. So as West Nile, what are we producing? What are we adding value to? We have the value addition factory that was constructed at the tune of 2 billion Ugandan shillings that is lying idle here in Arua city. Cannot even produce mere kilogram of millet because we don't have millet that can be produced and added value. The cassava, the enyasa, we only produce for consumption. Come to Awinderi, every day people are buying 100 kilograms of cassava for home consumption. So the factory is idle. Somebody is going to say that it's because of power. Let me tell you this. We have the MTC factory that has been in existence even before talking about the national grid. But they're producing. But this one of Awinderi, I don't know whether it is a management issue. The Minister of Local Government has to come out clearly on this. If the factory has not yet been handed over to the city authority, then it has to be clear. But it should not be because of produce issue. If it is produce issue, I can also agree, because there is nobody who is doing commercial farming here in West Nile, apart from maybe those politicians who hold big positions. Maybe they are the one because they have access to big money and they have access to the farm inputs. Compared to the wananchi like my mother in the village there. And so how can we change our status? If we have 24 produce stores lying idle in Arua city, this is according to the statistics that has been handed over to the Operation Well Creation that I have in possession. There are facilities that have been put up by government and also private sectors, but these facilities are not working. Why? Mindset change as one of the pillars of the parish development model. And parish development model is not about that money that people are really rushing for. Parish development model is about how can we develop holistically as a parish. Talking about roads, talking about mindset change, talking about the financial inclusion that currently is the talk of the town, talking about issues to do with value addition and productivity. And the Operation Well Creation is focusing on the productivity of the wananchi. Are we doing farming for home consumption? President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is always talking about this. Are we doing this for home consumption only? What do we have there to sell? Go to Paida Market tomorrow, Saturday. But bunches of matoke are being brought in. And do you know where these matokes are going? Kiriandongo, shoo. Going to Biale, shoo. To Masindi, shoo. To Lira, shoo. To Soroti,
to Gulu, up to Kitgum, but go to Paida. The people of Zumbu are still poor. God has blessed them with good land, unlike the land where I come from, that is the lower Padiere. Ours, we only grow cassava. Right now it is very hot. It rained here in Arua in the wee hour. But there, when you go right now, you can set the bush ablaze during this time. And so God has blessed us differently. And can we use the opportunities and the resources that God has blessed us with to change our lives? And that is what I need to tell you this morning. Dear viewer, I felt that I should really talk about this extensively, simply because this is what God has said I should do. Talk to the people, give them information. And I've been telling the people in government that the reason why we have opposition in this country, it is because they lack information. And tell somebody information. Give the person information in time. You will not hear about somebody opposing government programs. The people who are opposing government programs are people who lack information. But when you give them information rightly, they will understand. And you should be very careful using who to deliver the information. There are people who are not liked and loved. Whatever comes from their mouth, they want to consider those issues that are coming from their mouth as fire. They don't want to hear that. Some people don't want to hear even the voices of some of these leaders. For your information, these are facts. Because for me, I stay with the local people, and I share a lot with them. And so if government can change strategies of implementing its programs, trust me, we shall be smiling by this particular time. You will see vehicles, people are driving, people are, they are riding for exercise only. They will be riding motorcycle or bicycle just for them to do exercise. They are not riding it because it is the only means of transport that they have, but they will be riding motorcycle just to pass time. You understand? You know how somebody who rides motorcycle for pastime rides, compared to somebody who rides motorcycle as it is the only means of transport that he or she has. Have you ever met a person riding a bicycle and you just see this person is just passing time or is doing exercise? And that is the kind of life that we shall be living in if those programs of the government are being properly channeled and using the right people to channel the programs. We shall be living a life like those that we consider them to be rich. But it's very hard for me to know who is rich and who is poor also at the same time. But at least we shall be somewhere at par with those who have. Let's go for a break. And when I come back, I'll be diving into what we have in the dailies here on Westnile Television. Good morning.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
Get more for less on Star Times this Easter season. Cartoon channel for best children entertainment. New global series. Local drama on Makula TV and football all around the world. Simply make weekly or monthly subscription and enjoy upgrade to the next bouquet. For classic or super bouquet customers, subscribe for a month and enjoy 5 days extra. Family time with Star Times. Star Times is regulated by UCC.
Danny Hype is the latest, and if you love it, take it down low, take it down low. Vibe we need.
Yeah.
Introducing Devi Dancer.
Ladies. Say, shake your body. We're on fire.
Devi Dancer, yeah. What about that? Thank you for vibing with us. What's up? Hey.
Break your body.
So break your body. So break your body. Break your body. We say break. Break your body.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
Come back and thank you very much for joining us. You're still watching Westnile Television. KOKOLIRIKO Live is the show you're watching right here. And my name is Denis Oringi. Let us dive into some of the stories at the national level that you need to get to understand. And I'm taking you right to the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, where Uganda Revenue Authority has come under intense scrutiny from the lawmakers on the Parliament's Committee on Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE, for its failure to utilize a 60 billion as planned. The demand for answers arose during the ongoing probe into the irregularities highlighted in the Auditor General's report of the financial year 2021-2022. During the committee sitting on Thursday, yesterday, 13th July 2023, the committee members pressed Uganda Revenue Authority officers for specific explanations regarding the unutilized funds which had been allocated in the budget. During the inquiry, the Kasese Municipality Member of Parliament, Honorable Frederico Kabale, tasked the Commissioner General of Uganda Revenue Authority, John Musinguzi Yoki, failure to utilize the funds despite having a procurement plan in place prior to the budget approval is what you need to know. In response, Musinguzi attributed the matter to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, which had disrupted their procurement plans. He explained that the majority of the items on the procurement list were intended for the IT department, but due to pandemic-related delays and supply chain disruptions, the necessary materials, particularly microchips, could not be acquired. Musinguzi further emphasized that the challenges faced in purchasing vehicles due to the pandemic impact, and then Shandondo County East Member of Parliament, Honorable Muwanda Kuyinji, noted that there is need to investigate Uganda Revenue Authority's delayed initiation of procurement that led to failure to absorb the funds. Diana Kisaka, Uganda Revenue Authority's Assistant Commissioner for Finance, reported that there is a list of items that took longer than was unexpected and they were not able to absorb the funds. The committee tasked Uganda Revenue Authority officials to return with a list of tax-exempted companies at the next meeting. And a day earlier on Wednesday, 12 July 2023, Musinguzi and his team were kicked out of the meeting with the committee for allegedly being ill-prepared in their responses over, different pieces of land the tax body had procured. And that is something that we need to bring to your attention. The 60 billion unspent by Uganda Revenue Authority after the money was budgeted for and the procurement plan was also there. As you have heard from the Commissioner of Uganda, Commissioner General of Uganda Revenue Authority, John Musinguzi, he says that the COVID-19 affected the procurement, processes right there for them. And so I think it's on good note that the members of parliament are doing some good work of really check and balance right there. Remember, each and every financial year, government of the Republic of Uganda appropriate money for different ministries, departments and agencies and local governments that we do have in this country. And this money are supposed to be spent all before the next financial year. It's quite unfortunate that you hear that government of the Republic of Uganda through Minister of Finance has swept away monies from different district accounts simply because the monies have not yet been used. Why are districts failing to use these monies that they budget for
Is it incompetence of the leaders that we do have in these districts and ministries, departments and agencies? These are questions I leave for you to digest. And you can drop in your comments later on. Let's get to more stories from Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. You have to know that yesterday the Speaker of Parliament of the Republic of Uganda was able to summon the police officers, officials from Ministry of Works and Transport to discuss the continuous road carnages, in our country, Uganda. So the road carnage speaker's crisis meeting yields results is what you need to know. And what are some of the results that has come out of this particular meeting that the Speaker of Parliament of the Republic of Uganda was able to have with the leaders that are charged with the responsibility of ensuring that the people who are using our roads, they really use the road properly, is what you need to know. And for those who want to get more stories on this particular story of road carnage and also what transpired during the meeting that the Speaker of Parliament of the Republic of Uganda had with the staff from the Ministry of Works and Transport and the police officers who are charged with the responsibility of ensuring that things are done rightly in our country, Uganda, they can really give you the proper results of that information that you need right there for you. And so, dear viewer, with that, let's get to more stories that we do have for you right here on Westnile Television, and let's dive to the Daily Monitor right this morning, and you get to some of the stories. Remember, President of the Republic of Uganda yesterday was able to address the nation on a number of issues ranging from security to issues to do with how we can also get out of poverty. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni always feel good if he tells Ugandans. And there was a time when he was meeting journalists here in Arua, he said for him, his way to heaven is clear, and he knows that if he dies, he will go to heaven. And that is what he said to the journalists, because he has done his part. And God knows that he has done his part. And so you and I, what have we done? So that is what you need to know. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni blames, that is the Allied Democratic Forces, attack on intelligence flaws. He's really, trying to castigate the officers who are charged with the responsibility of manning, I think, the issues to do with the intelligence in this country, Uganda. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has said the Allied Democratic Forces, ADF rebels, have broken into very small groups that have become more difficult to detect, as he called for alertness and strengthening of intelligence gathering is what you need to know. In a national address about terrorism and crime yesterday, President Museveni described detecting the ADF rebels to finding a needle in a haystack, but he said the work of finding individual rebels is doable if there is alertness, good intelligence gathering and coordination between the security agencies and the members of the public. And so, quoting him verbatim, he says, they can no longer operate in big groups or smaller groups. Now the only way they can operate is as individuals. And why they can't operate in groups? It is because they know doing so is death. Because we can see you and deal with you. We have the capacity to deal with you. So now the way is to deal with individuals or small groups. Now that they can't operate as a group, how do we deal with them? It is now a question of alertness. Number two, intelligence and coordination between security agencies and the public. Those are the tasks we have. That is the challenge, President Museveni said yesterday. The address came nearly a month after suspected ADF rebels attacked Lubrihiha Secondary School at Mpondwe Kasese district and killed over 43 people, 37 of them students. The attacks have caused a panic in the country, fearing the resurgence of ADF rebel attacks that even security agencies in some districts in western Uganda started preventing late-night entertainment. And President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni said that ADF is no longer a military problem because the UPDF, which has attacked them and weakened them, but they are now an intelligence and diplomatic problem. And so when the ADF attacked us in Pondwe in 1996, they were trying to be like a military force. We quickly destroyed them. They ceased being an army now. So if they are no longer a military force where you can use the military to attack them as a solution, what do they become? They become an intelligence problem. It is now a problem of looking for a needle in a haystack, as the English say. And so President Yoweri Kaguta is saying, why do you close disco? Allow Ugandans to enjoy. Only that, intensify on security and allow Ugandans to enjoy. And so, so it was funny yesterday. So when he said that, why do you close discos? That I hear some other DCs are closing discos. Why do you close discos? Allow the Ugandans to enjoy. Because they are enjoying. They're in their country. And that tells you that there's peace. Only that the intelligence network has to be very strong. The intelligence agencies should really liaise with the members of the public. And for me, I feel that is the missing gap here. The intelligence that I witnessed during LRA insurgency is quite different from the intelligence now. So during LRA insurgency, the intelligence in northern Uganda was really very strong. And I love the way members of the public were really coordinating with the security agencies when it comes to intelligence. And in the primary school where I went to when I was in P1 and P2, I can remember vividly that if they have sensed that these guys are coming, the rebels are coming, they will blow whistle. And then the pupils will be alert. And you see somebody jumping out of the classroom through the windows. And when you see a friend jumping out of the classroom through the windows, don't ask why he's jumping. Do the same. And that was the level of intelligence during the LRA insurgency. I thought we can adopt the same. You see, be with these members of the public. But when we isolate ourselves from the members of the public, I'm speaking to the security forces this morning. When we isolate ourselves from the members of the public, we shall miss out the information. And at the end of the day, when something happens, you will be blamed that you have not done your work well. These members of the public, their intelligence network is very strong. I always witness this with these guys who do smuggling here in West Nile. These guys, they are alert. And their network of intelligence is very strong. And that's one of the reasons why Uganda Revenue Authority has not yet been able to get rid of these smugglers. Because their intelligence network is very strong. When something is happening at the border, these guys already, they know. If the Uganda Revenue Authority wants to go for operation, as soon as the driver ignites the car, you find that these guys have all disappeared, they're nowhere to be seen. And when you're driving and you don't get somebody, yet you have been informed that these guys have been here. That means that they have surpassed the Uganda Revenue Authority together with the security forces that move with the Uganda Revenue Authority in what we call intelligence network. And that's what President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is telling the security forces. Work with the members of the public if you want information. Don't intimidate them, work with them. And this also goes to the teachers and school administrators. If you want to manage school well, work with the students. Be friendly to them, engage them, laugh with them, cry with them, smile with them. Be there with them. Then you will get each and every information that you need for you to manage the school. There you will have people that you will trust, and they will trust you with information. And then there you're good to go as the head teacher and the administrator of the institution that you're running. It's not about you having PhD in administration, but it's about you having the knowledge that God has given you from birth. And then you're able to manage an institution. It doesn't need you to get PhD for you to manage institution. It just needs you to be human. If you understand that you're a human being and you're dealing with human being, it becomes very easy for you to manage people and stay with them well. Being a manager does not mean that you're supposed to impose, but being a manager is supposed to guide and listen and implement what they're telling you. Because if you fail to implement what they're telling you, then problem will come. And so this also applies with security. If the members of the public are telling you as a security officer, for that they have not gone for the training, you might despise them that what do you know about intelligence? But the information that they will give you will help you a lot to secure your areas of jurisdiction. And that's all what I wanted to tell you in regards to issues to do with intelligence and security network, and also working with the people. We're all human beings. Let's work with that. Let us work together, and we shall secure our future, as it is being said by the NRM, securing your future. And you secure somebody's future when you're working with the person. You cannot secure someone's future who you are not working with, it becomes very hard for you to secure that person's future. Busoga University admissions to resume next year is what you need to know. And for those who would love to go to Busoga University, you have to know that their admission will be resuming next year. This is something that I felt it is important that I should be able to bring to your attention. Over 5,000 trucks stuck at borders as drivers strike is what you need to know. That over 5,000 trucks stuck at borders as drivers strike. And this should not bring increase in fuel prices here in this region. More than 5,000 trucks carrying the country's exports and imports are stuck on both sides of the border at Malaba and Busia as the strike by Kenyan driver associations enters day 2. Malaba and Busia are the two busiest borders that we do have in the country that handle the bulk of imports and exports for Uganda and other regional states. The commerce and public service drivers in Kenya went on strike on Wednesday, protesting a policy by the government for compulsory retesting of all drivers and mandatory payment of fees to the National Transport and Safety Authority right there. And so the Kenyan's Cabinet Secretary Kibisumba Makomen, however, suspended the directive on Wednesday evening. In an interview with Daily Monitor yesterday, you have to know that Peter Sereka Namalwa, the chairperson of Uganda Clearing Industry and Forwarding Association at the Malaba border, said close to 800 trucks carrying export to different parts of Kenya and the port of Mombasa were stuck on the Ugandan side. Also another 3,000 trucks that were destined for Uganda and other countries in the region are held up in Kenya. We are estimating the trucks that are held up in Kenya and on our side that are carrying exports and imports to be close to 4,000. That is according to Namalwa. And this morning as I was coming for work, I saw at one of the petrol stations that we have here in Arua, I think the manager was climbing to change some figures, and this should inform that decision according to my personal analysis. If the story is like this, that 5,000 trucks stuck at the two border points that we do have, and this is going to affect the fuel prices here in our country, Uganda, and that could be those trucks could be trucks carrying also fuel coming to this area. And so when we reach at that point where we shall not have fuel in Arua, in West Nile, you should know that the trucks that were supposed to bring the fuel are still stuck. And this information is really very important and is very key this morning. And as you have heard, that is what is happening. And so be ready for any change in fuel prices and prices of commodities in your area is what I need to tell you. End of AIDS still possible by 2030. That's according to the United Nations. I need to bring to you this, the end of AIDS is still possible by 2030. The United Nations insisted Thursday yesterday, but cautioned that the world's deadliest pandemic could only be halted if leaders grasp the opportunity. AIDS can be ended as a public health threat. The United Nations AIDS agency said as it outlined a roadmap of investment, evidence-based prevention and treatment, empowering civil society and tackling the inequalities holding back progress. UNAIDS said ending the pandemic was above all a political and financial choice is what you need to know right there. And quoting verbatim, saying that we are not yet on the path that ends AIDS, the agency executive director Winnie Byanyima said, but we can choose to get on that path. The United Nations first set out in 2015 the target of ending AIDS as a public health threat by 2030. Byanyima said the greatest progress on HIV, the virus that causes AIDS, was being made in the countries and regions that have invested strongly. And she cited Eastern and Southern Africa, where new HIV infections have dropped by 57% since 2010. Botswana, Eswatini, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Zimbabwe have already achieved what are called the 95-95-95 targets. This means that 95% of those living with HIV know their status. 95% of those who know they have HIV are on self-saving antiretroviral treatment, and 95% of people on treatment to achieve viral suppression and therefore highly unlikely to infect others. At least 16 other countries are close to achieving the target. They include 8 in sub-Saharan Africa, the region where 65% of HIV-positive people live, and Denmark, Kuwait, and Thailand. 39 million living with HIV is what you need to know. And in a report, UNAIDS said that 2 decades ago, the AIDS pandemic seemed unstoppable, with more than 2.5 million people acquiring HIV each year and AIDS claiming 2 million lives annually. But the picture is now dramatically different. UNAIDS said that in 2022, 39 million people globally were living with HIV, of whom 29.8 million were accessing antiretroviral therapy. Those missing out include 660,000 children. The numbers on antiretroviral treatment have near quadrupled from 7.7 million in 2010. Furthermore, 82% of pregnant and breastfeeding women living with HIV had access to antiretroviral treatment in 2022 compared to 46% in 2010, which has led to a 58% drop in new infections in children. Around 1.3 million people became newly infected with HIV last year, down to 5.9% from the peak in 1995 is the statistics that you need to know. And meanwhile, 630,000 people died from AIDS-related illness, and it is still the #1 killer in countries, including Mozambique, said Byanyima. Overall numbers of AIDS-related deaths have been reduced by 69% since the peak in 2004, the report said. And so that is what you need to know. The dependent action is what we need to look into and we need to take seriously, as according to that is Byanyima right there for you. And so what has she said? She said here that the end of AIDS is an opportunity for today's leaders to be remembered, as those who put a stop to the world's deadliest pandemic, said Byanyima. And we thought we are hopeful, but it is not the relaxed optimism that might come if all was heading as it should be. It is instead a hope rooted in seeing the opportunity. Funding for HIV fell back in 2022 to $20.8 billion around the same levels as in 2013 and well short of $29.3 billion needed by 2025. Laws that criminalize people from key populations or their behaviors remain in place in many nations. United AIDS said, giving the example that criminalizations and stigmatization of drug injectors prevents them from coming forward for treatment, HIV continues to impact key populations more than the general population is what you need to know right there in regards to fight against HIV. And President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has been one key person who has really, tried his level best to really, send the message out there to the citizens of this country in regards to fighting HIV and AIDS. Remember his famous program of PSC. I do not know what has really happened to that, whether we do still have the secretariat, men for, that are really handling this PSC program that roll out in different schools that we have in this country. What has really happened to that presidential initiative of fighting HIV? And these are some of the questions that we need to continue asking right there for you. And so I will be giving you more stories. More than 20 children abandoned on that is Mbarara streets is what you need to know, that street children continue to increase in Mbarara. I do not know here in Arua. I think in Arua also we do have street kids, and that is the fact that I can bring to your attention. 3 remanded over murder of 5 Masaka family members is also another thing that you need to know. Then over 50 shops, restaurants raised in Mbale market fire is what you need to know. MPs probed digital number plates mess is what you need to know. And allow me to bring to your attention this one. That unresolved concern over digital number plates has pushed a section of stakeholders to appeal to Parliament to help them push the government to address and come up with a resolution over the plates. Led by Kampala City Trade Association, Kasita Chief Executive Officer Abel Mwesije, the petition has appeared on Wednesday before Parliament's Infrastructure Committee. Mwesije, in his petition, said the government should reconsider the abnormal cost of the digital plates. Development comes as the issuance of the digital number plates was pushed to October 31st after failing to beat the July 1st deadline is what you need to know. And then the petitioner said, much as the project's objectives aimed at improving security in the country, there are still several unresolved inconsistencies in its implementation. The government in 2019 signed a memorandum of understanding with the Russian company, joint stock company Global Security, to install, that is the digital trackers, with the intention of curbing the high-profile crimes. The contract is 10 years. And after signing this, let me tell you something that the city lawyer Mel Mabirizi was able to challenge Ministry of Works and Transport, in particular the Minister of Works and Transport, that is General Katumba Wamala, where the court was able to award, that is Mel Mabirizi, good amount of money, around 10 million Uganda shillings, for failure to avail him with the documents in regards to a memorandum of understanding signed between the government of the Republic of Uganda, through, that is Ministry of Works and Transport, with this Russian company, joint stock company Global Security, to install the digital trackers with the intention of curbing the high-profile crimes. And so, despite the agreement, doubts have continued shadowing the project with concern over failure by the government to meet the required milestone, including, among other things, setting up of installation, centers setting up a factory to manufacture the digital number plates and doing a countrywide sensitization exercise. And so to cap some of these worries, a team of Ugandan officials on March went on a fact-finding mission in Moscow, the capital of Russia. The officials were, however, not able to see any of the new vehicle number plates, a development that this publication reported on May 15th. And rather, the Uganda registration plate manufacturing process was instead being undertaken in Poland, a country in Central Europe, due to the same sanctions imposed on Russia by the European Union countries in response to the military hostility against Ukraine. By rushing to implement the exercise, Uganda Revenue Authority officials later said it would undermine revenue collections and cause public unrest, reasoning failure to deliver new digital number plates on time can still, can stall business operations and cause a public uproar. Both motorcycle and vehicle owners will be required to pay an amount of that is $750,000 for the digital number plates. The current number plates cost $125,000 for motorcycles and $137,000 for cars. The cost of the new digital number plates should remain the same as the current number plates. That is according to Mwesige, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Kampala Capital City, trade association right there. And so we do recommend that the new number plates cost should not exceed 200,000 so as to keep the cost within reach of the average Ugandans is what you need to know right there for you. Therefore, let's go for a break, and when we come back we shall be able to dive into the new vision and we get to understand some of the stories that we have in the new vision in regards to today's paper 14th of July 2023. My name is Denis Oringi. Good morning.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
Get more for less on Star Times this Easter season. Cartoon channel for best children entertainment. New global series. Local drama on KOKOLIRIKO TV and football all around the world. Simply make weekly or monthly subscription and enjoy upgrade to the next bouquet. For classic or super bouquet customers, subscribe for a month and enjoy 5 days extra. Family time with Star Times. Star Times is regulated by UCC.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, we'll be back and thank you very much for joining us right here on Westnile Television. My name is Denis Oringi. Let us dive into the new vision. In the new vision, we have a Muslim fraternity hails Museveni on Iran leaders' visit is what you need to know. Quoting them, they say that we hailed the reconciliation that was reached recently between our government, between your government, Iran, and the people of Saudi Arabia. That's according to Mubaje, telling the Iran's President Raisi right there. And then Uganda Revenue Authority offer 8 vehicles to tow vehicles abandoned on roads is what you need to know, that Uganda National Road Authority has decided to offer 8 vehicles to tow vehicles abandoned on roads. In a space of 1 week, 3 road crashes involving stationary vehicles occurred in different part of the country. 2 of the incidents were fatal is what you need to know. Why Uganda's population census has been postponed is also another thing that you need to know, that on Thursday, yesterday, UBO said the postponement of the Uganda census has been attributed to delays in procurement, and so that is what you need to know, that it is not going to be as planned. Remember, the government of the Republic of Uganda had planned, that is August, to be the month for starting the census, but due to procurement issue, I think it has been pushed to the date that will be communicated. And then Afonye's driver remanded over reckless driving is what you need to know, that the prosecution alleges that Isabire on July 6, 2023 at around 9 p.m. at Itojo on the Barara-Ntungamo Highway caused the death of Afonye by driving motor vehicle registration number UBF 300Z Toyota Land Cruiser recklessly is what you need to know right there. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni in the new vision, he says ADF is being wiped out, and he said in his speech, you can as well get a full speech of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Just go to the State House portal and you'll be able to get the whole speech of the President of the Republic of Uganda, the one that he was able to speak yesterday, and also other communications that he was able to make in different fora is what I have to tell you there. Government payroll, finance orders, deletion of unverified employees is what you need to know. That in a circular to all accounting officers, the Ministry Permanent Secretary Ramadan Ngobi said unverified staff should be deleted from the payroll not later than July 30th, 2023 is what you need to know. And then at Makerere University, you have to know that Makerere University private sponsored list for 2023 and 2024 is out. So applicants were admitted on private sponsorship in various courses, and you can as well get this list and check whether your name is there, your daughter's name or son's name is also there. If not, I think the Guild Council of Makerere University has also, instituted that is what we call conflict redress committee to handle some of the complaints that they are getting from those who had applied and they have not been considered. So they're calling upon those that have not been really considered to really apply. Dear viewer, thank you very much for being with us up to this particular time of the morning. My name is Denis Oringi. 6 minutes to the top of the hour. That is 9 a.m. right on Westnile Television. I'm out of here. Catch me again next week on Monday for the same program, the KOKOLIRIKO Live on Westnile Television.